Hello, everybody. It's Big Al with more content for Lord of the Rings Rise to War. So, today I'm going to talk about Ascension, the commanders that I think are worth it and the ones that aren't. So, let's hop into the commanders list. First, I'm going to talk about the epic commanders. So, let's go in here and do the filter. There's a couple more on the list, like Dwalin and Boromir, but we'll get to those in a minute. So, things you want to look for when you're thinking about ascending commanders is, are they going to help you in the long run? So, the long run could be, are you still going to use them after you get more commanders? It could be buying you time to get the other commanders. So, let's talk about it. Harrigan. Harrigan, with his skills, he's an okay support at the start, because he has the evade skill, he has some healing. I mean, if you take a look at his relic, there's nothing really that special about his relic. Merry and Pip, pretty much anybody that's been in the game more than 5 minutes knows Merry and Pip is not a fighting commander. You got same thing with Ori. Of course, there are some people that joke that Ori could be a commander, but in all seriousness, no. Faramir. Now, Faramir is questionable. He does have the damage skills, which can make him an okay damage dealer. Let's take a look at his relic. He gets commander attack. In the first 2 rounds, Faramir and his formation's ranged unit gain initiative and their damage dealt is increased by 10%. Now, that special ability could definitely come in handy with, say like sharpshooters or things like that. So he's a possibility. Let me pull out the other ones. So then there's Dwalin. Dwalin, I absolutely think when you are new to the game, you should ascend him. Reason being is he is a damage dealer. He has Durin's Blood, which is the best damage skill in the game. He's got the Experienced Warrior. Okay. Is he going to be a commander you're going to use after you get Dane, Gimli, Bjorn, the rest of those? No. But when you're new to the game, the first 3-4 seasons, you are struggling on respect for your commanders. Now, Dwalin being a damage dealer, I recommend ascending him because he gets some extra stats and he will buy time until you can get respect in those other damage dealers. Because if you can avoid it, you don't really want to use any commander that's respect 0. Or really a respect 1. Another one is Boromir. Is another one of the epic commanders. I ascended him because I wanted to test to see if he would be viable as a tank. So we'll go into the skills. He has his evade skill. He has this air defense skill. And then he also gives attack to 3 allied formations. 3 allied formations is not just the troops, but it's also the commander. And then he has 1 damage skill. The more and more I used Boromir, he is a viable support/tank option for a B team. And he's easy to get. Let's take a look at his relic. He gets command, which he needs. He gets unit defense, is what he needs when he's tanking. The special ability from round 6 onward, damage dealt by man units in the commander's formation, plus 6%, and then goes up when you refine it. Is he worth ascending to Mythic? No. He would be way, way, way down the list. But I believe Dwalin and Boromir are both worth ascending just to legendary for those newcomers and free to play that only have a few seasons inside of them. So, as far as the mythic, you have Dwalin first, absolutely. I think everyone new to the game should ascend him. You have Boromir, and Boromir would be until you could get like Frodo or Falcon, or I hate to say it, even Gil, get those kind of commanders leveled up. So Boromir, Dwalin, Faramir, I would recommend as well. Eowyn is a toss-up. I ascended her. I actually got her free ascended because of her level from 1.0. But she is an okay support for horse commanders, meaning Theo, Denethor, Imrahal, Eamor. You can put them together in a group and do mobs or tiles and not take much losses. So she's another one that's possible. So Eowyn, Boromir, Dwalin, and possibly Faramir. So those would be the epics ascending to legendary. I don't think any of them are worth ascending to mythic to get the relic, except maybe Faramir. So now let's talk about just the legendaries ascending to the mythics. So this list is going to be a little bit longer and a little bit more complicated. So a couple that I'm not going to go through each and every commander on this one, but I am going to talk about the ones that I have on my list. First and foremost, hold on, I have to bring them up, is Gimli. Gimli is one I definitely recommend ascending. Besides his stats, he also gets his relic, Balin's Axe. Now, if you look down here at the special items, I have it refined a couple times. But Gimli gains the following effects in sequence. When his attack reaches 50, damage dealt plus 3%. When his attack reaches 100, damage dealt plus 3%. So that's an extra 6% right off the bat. And then when his focus reaches 50, he gains Keen Eye. Keen Eye ignores target's evasion. So this is very big for people against armies that are using Gil or Undying. So, first and foremost, he is the absolute first one that I recommend ascending. He's the only one I have ascended yet. Next would be Falcon. Falcon is a tank. We all know Falcon. But let's take a look at his relic. It gives command, it gives unit defense, two most important stats for him. Then if you read through his special ability, reduces damage received by this formation's melee unit by 1%. Okay, I don't care about the next part because it's ranged units. You are using Falcon as a tank, so he's going to have melee units. The above effect gains 1% for each allied dwarf unit present. Not type of unit, just unit. So, when you're using Falcon, you have a Swan Knight, Great Beast, Troll on him. And then you have Dwarves on your other three. So that's an extra 3% on top of everything else. And it stacks. This makes him the best tank in the game. So, first and foremost, Gimli, then Falcon. Next on my list would be Gandalf the Grey. And I say this because I don't have Gandalf the White. And I know a lot of people don't have Gandalf the White. But his relic same thing. It gives you command unit defense. Damage received by the commander's formation is minus 2%. Excuse me. So, once that's upgraded, hey, that's 10%. That's going to help him be a support. And in some cases, people might build him to be a tank with just command and unit defense. And just a little focus. So, let's look through the list on who else. So those are my top 3 in that order. I don't recommend, even though how much I love Frodo, I don't recommend ascending him because his relic does not do any good. It doesn't give any command for the stats, and then his special ability is only if you're fighting orcs. Okay. Aragon the Second. He's a little bit easier to get. His relic gives the commander attack, HP, all that. The formation unit recovers 25% hit points each round. The next part I don't really like. Man units in this formation take normal attacks in the place of one ally formation. Because you're not building Aragon as a tank, he is meant for damage. So you would have to use him with a unit other than man. So he makes the list. Let's see. Legolas. He's another damage dealer. Let's look at his relic. Normal attacks inflict an additional 20.8% physical damage. And then when refined, it goes up. That is actually a good relic skill. I believe it's Lurtz on the evil side has the same skill. So he's another one that I think is worth ascending. Now we come to Aramor and Theoden. If you're using cavalry, if you like to use cavalry a lot, Aramor is worth ascending for a damage dealer. You can use him as a damage dealer and also for his units to be help with the attack. You have Theoden, who is more of a troop buff commander, specifically for cavalry. So same thing with him. You could use him as a support / tank as long as you are using cavalry, and his relic does help reduce the damage received to certain units. This one I would say you were going to use marshals if you're using him more as a tank. So let's go through again. So we have Gimli first, then Falcon, then Gandalf the Grey. Those are my top 3. Aragon the Second, Legolas, Aramor, and Theoden. Those are my list for who I would ascend. So I hope this kind of clears things up for what you're looking for when you're trying to ascend somebody. The reason to ascend would be from legendary to mythic is because you want to get their relic and then keep leveling them. So, as always, make the most out of what you got.